Welcome. I am Dr. Angelika Christie, your host of the show, Your Radiant Life After 45. We talk about skills for healthy, happy, and prosperous women. I believe in a world where women are cherished and thrive because the world needs your light, needs your energy, needs your power. And I help you discover and live your unique gift because all of us have unique gifts. And we are here to express them and live through them. So I help you discover and live your unique gift confidently and with pride. So with over 25 years of professional experience as a naturopathic doctor specializing in healthy aging, and as a lifestyle and relationship coach, I share my heart and knowledge with my vast personal life experience. And if this sounds good to you, be my guest here every week on this day of the week and at this time of the day. Yes? Yes. So let's begin. Today is a little bit different. I am also traveling. You probably see this in my background. But something happened, and I read something very interesting in the New York Times, and it made me aware of what is energy. So what is energy? We know that life only exists because of spinning and dancing atoms and electrons. And we call this energy. But what is energy? Well, energy can be many things, like energy is heat, is light, is motion or friction, and electricity, right? Then there is chemical energy, which includes the chemistry within our bodies that is stored and released within the atoms and molecules, producing the energy and the warmth. And we experience every second of our lives. And then there is nuclear energy. And nuclear energy is stored in the nucleus of an atom. It's the energy that holds the nuclei together. And you know what happens when it's freed, yes? It's a nuclear reaction, and it's very, very destructive. So let me just have a look at the time because I didn't. Okay. And there is also another energy, and that is spiritual energy, which I call universal life force energy. Energy is really all around us. It is within us, and it creates really the big matrix of life. Yes? It's the tapestry of life even on Earth and also in the entire universe. And there is a spiritual energy. You may or may not know that I'm a Reiki master teacher for 30 years now, almost 30 years. So in Reiki and in spiritual healing, we speak about the spiritual energy, which is also called universal life force energy. And it is all around us. It is within us. It creates our being on so many levels, right? But, it's so amazing, all these different kinds of energies. Isn't it fascinating? Isn't it fascinating how much energy we are surrounded with every moment of our life? And well, if you are interested in documentaries about the universe and its quasars and supernovas and its black holes and even objects that can come pretty close to our planet, of course, they're all throughout the universe, but we are only really worried or interested and attentive to those who could come into our orbit and hit planet Earth, like meteorites. Yeah? So the entire universe is actually beaming with raw, powerful, destructive, and also benevolent and creative and building energy. Yes, isn't this amazing? And you and I, we are part of all of that. Yes, for billions of years, you and I have been part of it. How? We are actually made of this energy, this stardust, and intelligently guided energy. I know, I can practically see your face change with raised maybe eyebrows. Maybe even you're saying out loud, what? What are you talking about, Angelika? I know that this sounds like science fiction, and yet it's not. Well, we don't know everything yet. We may never know everything. But science has already discovered so much with experiments, and also because we have the biggest telescope in space. Yes? And that telescope looks deeper and deeper into space and into the past of the universe and how it was developed, how it came into being, and what is going on right now. So before I share with you what I just read in the New York Times, in the newspaper today, actually yesterday, let me make a statement that could shock you a bit. It's about your energy. Whenever you say that you have no energy, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so depleted of energy, don't we say that at times? You practically say that you do not know how to connect to the energy that is always around you and within you. Which really means that when you say, I have no energy, you have connected yourself. You have disconnected yourself from this energy. Well, there could be a couple of reasons. It may be because your immune system is busy fighting off intruders, viri, or bacteria, or any pathological intruders that could be a problem for you. Then you don't have as much available energy because your immune system is busy. Yeah. And another reason could be that maybe you didn't sleep well and did not restore or replenish your energy reserves. So actually, what I'm saying is that you are never totally without energy. Well, that is as long as you are alive. When you die, all energy will leave your physical body. You see, I say your physical body. And the transition is that your energy then resides in your spiritual existence. Isn't that fascinating? Yes? What that means is that you never, ever are without energy, ever, throughout eternity. Not after death, so throughout eternity. Wow, isn't that amazing? Okay, let me just, I actually looked that up on Google, the different types of energy. And here is what it says. It includes thermal energy. And today, when we think about how we can replace fossil fuel with other sources of energy, thermal energy comes to mind, yes? And then, of course, there is that radiance that we have, that radiant energy. I believe that is really our spiritual energy. Then there is the chemical energy. And that's really what's going on within our bodies, all these chemical reactions that create energy. Then there is nuclear energy. Yes. Then there is just electricity, electrical energy, motion energy, sound energy. These are the frequencies, and it's an energy. elastic energy, and gravitational energy. Yeah? There's probably more, but this is what I found. Okay, I wanted to tell you about what I read in the New York Times yesterday, okay, which made my heart jump with excitement. I don't know about you, but I am always interested in science, and I probably got this from my father, who, when I was a child, would sit me on his knees, and he would tell me about the universe, about the supernovas and the quasars and everything that's going on, and about the ancient times, the dinosaurs. And so anyway, all of this has always excited me. So here is what I read in the New York Times. That after decades of research, scientists have reached an important milestone in the future of energy. You see, energy, and that's what actually stimulated me to talk about energy, not just what I read in the newspaper, but also about energy, what it really is and what it means to us within us, in our bodies. So, on Tuesday, December the 13th, scientists at the Department of Energy announced a breakthrough that could help make sci-fi visions into reality. You know, the sci-fi movies that we watched 20 and even 30 and 40 years ago. But after decades of trying, scientists for the first time carried out a nuclear fusion reaction. A nuclear fusion reaction, not detonating an atomic bomb underground. No, this has been banned, I think, for about 30 years in the United States. No, this was I'm going to tell you what this was and where this took place. Okay, so this nuclear fusion reaction that produced more energy than went into it, because that's always the big thing, you know? How do you get more energy without needing to put energy into producing the energy? Makes sense, right? So behind that technical description is a simple but important breakthrough. Humans can tap into the process that powers stars to produce energy on Earth. I mean, one of the stars is our sun, right? And it produces the energy. We get energy from the sun. Without our sun, the Earth could not exist. No life could exist. So here is what this container is called. The NIF is the world's most powerful laser, but it is a slow and inefficient one, relying on decades-old technology. But still, the apparatus, the whole thing where all of this happened in is about the size of a sports stadium. Can you believe that? And is designed to perform basic science experiments, not serve as a prototype for generations of electricity, but for science research. And fusion would be essentially an emission-free source of power, right? And it would help reduce the need of power plants burning coal and natural gas, and of course fossil fuels, which pumps billions of toxins and tons of planet-warming carbon dioxide into the atmosphere each year. Actually, each day. But it will take quite a while before fusion becomes available on a widespread practical scale. They say it would probably take decades. And then, of course, they're never sure, if ever. Because what they really did was, it actually happened. What is happening inside the stars and in this fusion, this emission, this fusion actually happened, but at a very low rate. So it averages about 10 shots per week. A commercial facility using a laser fusion approach would need much faster lasers to shoot at a machine gun pace, perhaps, 10 times a second. And the NIF also still consumes far more energy than the fusion reactions can produce, especially at that speed. But why is this result such a big deal? As a clean source of energy, nuclear fusion could help replace polluting fossil fuels and overcome climate change. Even though, if it takes decades and decades to really make it viable so that we can use it commercially, I don't know how. We have to do something about climate change much, much sooner. And you and I know that, right? And if the remaining challenges, of which there are many, are figured out, nuclear fusion could produce more energy than today's technologies are capable of. So serious barriers remain before that potent future, and the experts caution about that. So can scientists reliably replicate what they have done only once? You see, you can do something only once, but that doesn't really, it's amazing, but it's not practical until you can replicate it. So, and then can it be done more efficiently and more quickly? And then is it possible that it could be scaled up? So all these questions are serious enough that if not overcome, today's announcement may ultimately be too little to have that, oh my God, effect that we really need on our planet, in our homes. Anything involving nuclear science can get technical and complicated. In today's newsletter, I wanted to walk you through some of the basics so you can understand why the announcement actually could be a big discovery. Because here is what's happening. This has really imitated the sun. Yes, really, fusion is what powers the sun, and it powers other stars. The sun's massive gravitational pull constantly compresses hydrogen atoms and fuses them into helium, releasing bursts of energy. And if you have ever seen this, how these sun flares, how these bursts of energies come from the sun, it's fascinating, right? And, that energy is transmitted across the solar system as light and heat, and in rare circumstances, create conditions for life in other areas, not just on our planet Earth. We need our sun. As I said earlier, without our sun, no life would be possible on our Earth. But back on Earth, scientists hope to replicate a tiny fraction of that process to power our other technologies and our entire infrastructure without emitting the climate warming emissions that coal, oil, and gas do, or the radioactive waste of current nuclear power plants. But as I said, those power plants don't use fusion. They use uranium, right? But most nuclear fusion experiments have used kind of donut-shaped reactors and magnetic fields to trap hydrogen, fuse it, and release the energy. And those experiments have not yet produced more energy than they used. But the goal they need to meet to be considered a true source of energy is to continue that research and eventually get there, right? So what the Department of Energy's lab did was different. It fired, and this is what I read in the newspaper, it fired 192 lasers at a tiny hydrogen pellet. Can you imagine that? A tiny hydrogen pellet fired at by 192 lasers. And this heated up the pellet, causing it to implode, fuse into helium, and release a blast of energy. My goodness me, how incredible is that? But how dangerous it also is and sounds, right? But the lab had been conducting this experiment for years, tweaking how and where the lasers are fired. And then it happened. On December the 5th, this year, 2022, the changes paid off. I mean, all of whatever they had to do to make it better, The resulting nuclear fusion produced, finally, for the first time, more energy, about 50% more than the incoming energy from the lasers. Also, although firing the lasers uses more energy, it's a different problem to solve, But there is something really incredible developing. And the scientists can say, all they can say is that they did a nuclear fusion reaction that produced more energy than they had to put in at the start of the reaction. There you go. So nuclear fusion research has been around for 50 years, and no one has been able to say that before, that they actually were successful in having a nuclear fusion. Now, the goal is to refine this approach, right? And hopefully to make it commercially viable and eventually to supplant other dirtier energy sources, to exchange them out for that nuclear fusion energy. The breakthrough might also help scientists study nuclear reactions without underground detonations, that we used to have 30 plus years ago. But even if fusion power becomes a reality, it probably won't happen in time to avert the worst near-term effects of climate change. Perhaps the most important technological issue of the dawn of the 21st century is which nation, the United States or other countries in the world, will control nuclear fusion. My goodness, the destructive force and power is incredible. But when there is one thing, there's also the other. The benefits could be incredible too. So the National Ignition Facility, that's what NIF stands for, is a laser-based inertial confinement fusion research device located at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in Livermore. That's, in California. And the NIF's laser beams can create nuclear fusion in the laboratory by generating the same kinds of temperatures and pressures that exists in the core of stars. I mean, how incredible is that? I don't know if it excites you. It excites me. This is unbelievable. But of course, it has to be contained. Therefore, the NIF, located at Livermore, California, is the size of a sports stadium and uses powerful laser beams to create temperatures and pressures like those in the cores of stars and giant planets and inside our sun. So, yes, I talk a lot about this, I know, but it's energy, right? On the 13th of December, 2022, the first ever controlled fusion experiment to produce more energy from fusion than the laser energy used to drive was conducted at the National Ignition Facility, NIF, at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory on December the 5th. And on the 13th of December, I read it in the newspaper. And this breakthrough has been decades in the making. Yes, so for the first time, scientists at the world's largest nuclear fusion facility have achieved the phenomenon known as ignition, creating a nuclear reaction that generates more energy than it consumes. The phenomenon that powers the sun to provide a source of near limitless clean energy on Earth is really what we are talking about. But researchers caution that despite the latest success, a long path remains to achieve that goal. But when you think about it, would you not say that the most logical source of energy actually comes from the sun? I would say so. And I was thinking about, yes, the sun is a form of energy, but then there is also, what about lightning strikes, right? I was surprised to find, and I had to research it on Google again. I was surprised to find that lightning strikes the Earth 80 million times a day. 80 million times a day. And 20 million times in the US alone. How come this is so much more in the US? I mean, not more than, but in relation, the US is not that big. But maybe there is a reason why lightning strikes in certain areas more than in others. I'm not too sure about that.Maybe you want to read up on that. And did you know that the volt measured in a single lightning flash can be between 100 million and 1 billion volt? My goodness. Thank God, whenever a human is struck by lightning, 90% of them survive. Isn't that amazing? With that kind of voltage. Yes, you heard this correctly, 1 billion voltage within a lightning strike. And did you know that one lightning strike could give a whole city electricity? A big city, but only for a few seconds. Because you cannot harness that, right? Why can't we use lightning for electricity? It's because no existing battery could survive this onslaught. 100 million to 1 billion volt? What battery could be used for that? Batteries need to charge up more slowly, not like phew. And then, even if we could design a battery that the strike would not vaporize, all the lightning in the world would still power only a small fraction of households. So I think that's why there is not a lot of research in trying to harness lightning strikes for electricity. So I usually do not speak much about science. I enjoyed very much having you here today with me. Thank you for spending your precious time with me. And if you find what I shared with you today valuable, even though it was not what I usually do, mark your calendar for next week, the same date, same time. I can't wait to show you so much more that will give you the tools to live your most radiant life after 45. And you can always contact me with any question or any comments. So here is the next step. If you want to discover and live your precious life to the fullest, I invite you to join my community of inspired women, where I show you the skills that will help transform the challenges that you may have in new opportunities. I would love to hear from you too. So bye-bye for now. See you next week right here. Dr. Angelika Christie signing off.